Nova Scotia's EMO asked to use the hall as a registration centre for residents of Portapique who had fled their homes.
An
RCMP officer was posted here in a cruiser. By this time, police were on the hunt for the shooter, who they knew was impersonating a police officer. At 10:30 a.m., 2 RCMP officers fired multiple shots outside the hall. Sources have told CTV News the officers thought they were firing at the suspect when it was in fact a fellow Mountie.
This program is brought to you in part by...
Why don't you get yourself some turned-down collars, Poirot? They're much more the thing, you know.
The thing, Hastings? Do you think Poirot concerns himself with mere thingness?
No. No, I see that.
The turned-down collar is the first symptom of decay of the grey cells.
You know, I just think if people keep pushing, I can't, first of all, thank enough all of the hard work. There's 3 fellow YouTubers who are working very, very hard with me on this one. Rage in the Cage, Steve LTT, and Just My Stupid Opinion. Just plugging them, sorry. But they are fantastic guys, really been busting their humps here. And, you know, stepping up to the plate, because there's a certain amount of risk saying certain things. And also, likewise, all of the people who are volunteering information and time, which is, like I said, over on the Discord or sending me anonymously information, it is fantastic.
All right. Sorry. Oops. My apologies. My sincerest apologies for being late. I put that out and then I got a phone call. Sorry about that. Anyways, hope everybody's having a great Thanksgiving Monday. Long weekend. Nice. Now, Paul's put out a new article. Very excited to go through it. I really don't want to click their stupid OK on the screen. I really don't like clicking things, but it's in the way. It's like signing blank checks. Don't like doing it. Not going to do it. How many of you use that, what is it, pre-authorization shite? I know it's convenient, but Jesus. Just come in my account, take whatever you want. It's not a problem. So I'm very excited about the Paul P. Hello, Ozzy. Hello, Bruce. Hello, Dave. I have not read this. I like to not read things. I was made aware of the article. I have some how do you say that? I was advised that there are connections. So if you know the story, then you're going to see some things in the story that may not be stated outwardly. Hey, G. All right, so let's get to it. And please pardon my reading. Okay. I've left a link also down below for the article, so please go around and share it. And also, sorry, I know I'm always bad with this. Please, if you haven't watched Leon's interview, please do. And please share that with people. You know, I don't ask that for anything to do with myself or anything like it. It's just because it's important to him. And he's asked that. And I like to try and do what I can. And so that's what he's asked. I say, why not? Not that hard. Tell your friends. Go check it out. It's fine. You can just watch the video and see what he says. Now, these 2 old people were fed to the wolves. What happened to Bernard and Rosemarie Solnier? When the Solniers, in their attempt to be model citizens, made the call to police, they must have thought they were serving the greater good. then they died. Let's just archive this because very important to always do that. I like to use, you can get little things, I don't know what you call these, extensions or add-ons or whatever to your different browsers, and then Arcanite, what is this one called? Archiver Roar? I don't know. Works good. Then you can always have a copy, and if you have something, you also have a detector. If an article has been deleted, you have the link to it. Then you go to it, and it's been deleted. It'll search automatically through the archives of archive.is or archive.org. They're good for different reasons. Org is better for videos. Todd, what's going on? Cut out middleman, give them blank checks to the Queen or the Pope, or somewhere else too. You know where. All right, so been waiting a long time for this. The unsolved murders of two respected Moncton area senior citizens just over a year ago appears to have been both an act of retaliation and a warning to others about the possible dangers of calling the police on drug traffickers, according to sources in the RCMP knowledgeable about the case. No, I don't want your garbage or whatever. No, COVID can go away. Go away. Yeah. Anyway, the case illustrates how dangerous it has become to work as an informant for the police, said one of the sources, a ranking police RCMP officer. Quote, those two old people were fed to the wolves, said the police source. Quote, the RCMP did not do a proper risk assessment in this case. The murders took place September 7, 2019. The victims were Bernard A. Solnier, hopefully I've got the pronunciation right on that, 78, and his wife, Rosemarie Solnier, 74. Nice, old people. Their bodies were found in their bungalow on, Emerald Street, a main thoroughfare running through the Moncton suburb of Dieppe. Bernard Solnier was a local entrepreneur who was past president of Acadia Electric, past president of Dieppe Rotary Club, and past president of New Brunswick Construction. Rosemarie Solnier had a degree in nursing and was a nutritionist and naturopath. She owned a business in that field, Natural Choice Health Center. In the months and years leading up to the Solnier murder, in the maritime provinces, like many of the places in North America, have seen a rise in the use of illegal narcotics. The region is alleged to be largely controlled by outlaw biker gangs, especially the Hells Angels. The Maritimes, with its long, largely unprotected coastline, is seen as a coveted base of operations for smuggling drugs and distribution across North America. The RCMP has been trying to go toe-to-toe with the bikers and shut down their operations in a never-ending and increasingly more difficult battle. One weapon the RCMP uses are informants, but turning bikers into police informants has become an overused tactic. Some police observers say in this light, the RCMP has sought help from ordinary citizens, like the appeal it made in July 2018. Quote, it's tough for us to infiltrate, RCMP Sergeant Michael Sims told Global reporter Natasha Pace. What is it? Have a little look at that. We'll put that in the archive too. I like how it's, this one hasn't been changed too badly. Okay. Among those who answered the RCMP call for help, the RCMP sources say, were the Solniers. They were concerned about activities of one of their sons, Silvio. Good grandparents, good parents. Old people. A review of Silvio Solnier's Facebook page, where his pit bull is featured in a photo. Pit bulls actually are nice dogs if you treat them well. It's not even a dog breed. Shows connections to a number of bikers, including Hell's Angels Nomad. Those of you who are not familiar with the Nomads are a particularly interesting breed. Member Robin Moulton, believed to be in prison. Moulton has been cited recently by the RCMP as a key target in a series of anti-biker raids and arrests that has taken place in 2019 and this year in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. Moulton's Facebook page, which he runs under the handle of Robin Angel, also you know this one's going to be pooped right away, also features Silvio Solnier as a friend. His list of friends reads like a who's who in the bikers world. Win the Solniers in an attempt to be model citizens. Good for them. I like good people. Made the call to police. They must have thought they were serving the greater good. Quote, the police were raising the alarm in the community about the damage being done by the proliferation of drug use, particularly methamphetamines. The Solniers were good people. They thought that they were doing the right thing for the community by calling the police, the RCMP source said. With the information that he had, it wouldn't have been difficult for the Mounties to act on it. A couple of days of surveillance, and they would be able to get search warrants. On August 28, 2019, RCMP police forces conducted raids on 5 properties in Moncton, Steve's Mountain, and Douglas. One of the residents raided was 204 Dominion Street in Moncton. The house was listed at the time as being owned by Silvio Solnier. Excuse me. In the raids, police seized, as the CBC reported at the time, about 14.5 kilos, and that's going to be over 30 pounds, of suspected crystal methamphetamines, 880 grams of suspected cocaine and crack cocaine. Meth is popular. Excuse me. On September 6th, the day before the bodies were discovered, the RCMP announced charges were being filed against 5 people during the raids. The Solniers were likely murdered that night. Old people getting murdered after reporting. I wonder, could there be a connection? While the police have not revealed what happened inside their home, an observer familiar with the investigation said the scene was graphic. Okay, we're talking about old people here. Very sad. Doing the right things. Not making me too happy. Hopefully not making any of you happy. An RCMP source said the obvious and intended victim was Bernard Solnier and that his wife was likely collateral damage. Nice. Quote, they thought they could carry on with their everyday life and then they got hit out of the blue with a bag of hammers, the police source said. Well, it seems like maybe he's being kind of more literal than figurative. Those 2 people were fed to the wolves. Weeks afterwards, the RCMP put out an alert for 2 vehicles seen in the area of Solnier's home. One, a black BMW sedan with darkened windows, was seen on September 3rd, not far from the home. The occupant got out of the car and used a payphone. In the overnight hours of September 6th and 7th, the 2 vehicles were seen near the Solnier home, a black BMW and an Infiniti SUV. Money. Okay. If the murders were in Retaliation to the police, which led to the raids and arrests. Police sources don't seem to think that the killings were bikers. Quote, there are Hell's Angels links to it, to this. There's links, but this is not the Hell's Angels style, said an RCMP officer whose observations were echoed by others familiar with the biker world. Quote, the Hell's Angels will kill their own members for being informers, but they do not go after civilians. And they wouldn't likely be driving flashy cars to do a hit. In the past, Angels hitmen prefer minivans. This sounds more like someone hired a street gang member to do a hit. It's definitely related. Oh, what happened here? Sorry. What has happened here? It's definitely related, sorry, to the bus somehow, but we just don't know how yet. Last December, Luke Solnier, the deceased couple's son, sought an order in Moncton's Court of Queen's Bench banning access to his parents' estate's files. In his claim, the young Solnier stated that allowing details of the estate to be open to the public, as normally is the practice, open to the public, court documents, making you think of anything here? As normally the practice could be exposed the family members to unknown danger. Next month on January 16th, as reported by CBC, I'm going to archive that. Very good to archive these things and keep a record of links. Now, as reported by the CBC, New Brunswick Justice Jean-Paul Ouellette issued a ban on access to the estate files. Quote, considering who could benefit from the estate, the circumstances of the deceased, the ongoing criminal investigation, the absence of information about the motives and identities of the murderers, publication of information could put both beneficiaries and their family at significant risk of harm of their lives by unsavory members of the public who could become aware of such inheritance, Ouellette stated in his written ruling. It is well known, okay, let's see, while the Solniers were not likely confidential informants working for the RCMP, did they say too much? Had they innocently entered into a dangerous and treacherous world by calling the police out of concern for their community? Police sources say there is another case in Atlantic Canada where confidential informants wound up dead. This is another case. There is another case. Sorry. It is well known in the criminal world that the RCMP is not a safe place for anyone to be an informant. An RCMP inside source said. Hopefully we'll get to the day in this world where we're not all frightened and hiding behind anonymity. You know, showing your face, having a name, you know, Seamus, Calgary, hi, how are you doing? Not so bad. Lets people know you can't fuck with me. Quote, the way the system works is that any confidential informant is identified and controlled by a handler. That handler knows everything. His superior may or may not know about the informant, the source said. Only payroll knows the informant's number, and the payment goes through the handler. The system is tight. See, the payment goes through the handler. But, quote, when it comes to confidential informants, all information about them is sent up the line to Ottawa, where there's all kinds of people who see the information, the police source said. Do they have struggles with some of this stuff? Cameron Ortez, is that the only one that they've had struggles with? Leaking information, psychologists. Just saying, there's all kinds of problems. Leaks. It's like the submarine with a sieve door. Quote, you have these review groups in Ottawa where the senior person is being paid $125,000 a year and a clerk is being paid $40,000 a year, and they have exactly the same access to everything. Said the source familiar with the process. Quote, they go after the ones on the lower end. That's why the government is checking out everyone's finances every year to see who's living above their means. Ridiculous. More than a year later, the New Brunswick RCMP Major Crime Unit says it is continuing to investigate double homicide of Bernard Solnier and Rosemarie Solnier. Quote, investigators are working diligently to identify the person or persons responsible for their deaths, says Constable Hans Ouellette, Media Relations Officer. DERP. Quote, we continue to ask for anyone with information related to the investigation contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers. Ouellette did not respond to questions about the Solniers being informants. Is that a surprise? Have we seen that before? Did they ever respond to anything? Ask them if they're RCMP officers. Oh, we can't answer that. That's an ongoing investigation. We're investigating whether we are. About the Solniers being informants, whether their murders were linked to the raids in August 2019 or provided any updates on the case. He did not comment. Surprise. Why do we even ask them anything? They should just wear a sign saying no comment. He did not comment on whether the RCMP were aware of leaks within the organization at local level or in Ottawa. Ottawa is a problem also with RCMP. We've been through that before. They're very hand in hand. And we're conducting checks on employees with access to information, informant information. The spokesman also did not comment on the deaths of the alleged confidential informants in the Maritimes. Put them in stocks, derps like that, and just say no comment. Everybody can throw tomatoes. Whatever has happened to the Solniers, the RCMP has reacted, because it's very transparent, has reacted with definitive moves in the Maritimes to shore up its efforts in dealing with biker gangs. Last November, police sources say, Assistant Commissioner Larry Tremblay, who heads the New Brunswick RCMP, took control of anti-biker operations in the Maritimes. I wonder if that's that. What is it? CFESU? I think it is. Very interesting organization within the RCMP. Around the same time, Chief Superintendent Chris Leather, who is considered inside the force to be an expert on undercover operations, that's out of York. I don't know, it's not like he can blend in, Leather with that face. And how could he be an expert in undercover operations? He'd be shitting his pants the entire time. Whoa! What? Oh no, I'm scared. Who is considered inside the force to be an expert on undercover operations, moved into Nova Scotia as criminal operations officer, second in command to the Assistant Commissioner Lee Bergerman. Lee Bergerman, who has a big history with undercover. I wonder if he's going to talk about that. Insiders say the focus of RCMP serious crimes units in the RCMP is on the Hells Angels and other bikers. So there you go. Little clues. What are you guys getting out of that? Hearing certain things? Aside from the fact that they don't answer questions, which is pretty normal. I think it possibly is because they're illiterate at that level or something. Let's see what you guys have to say here. Going back here. And I'm very sorry for the delay. Once again, my apologies. Solnier. Solnier. Okay, thank you. Solnier? All right. Well, I don't know. My pronunciation is anything but good. Very, very much a shortcoming of mine. How do you infiltrate organized crime? Oh, yeah, you ask the government for access. I wonder if they need access or they're just kind of part of it, maybe. CSIS loves to deporting informants rather than paying them or giving them the promised citizenship. Yeah, they all spend the time on the beach in Tunisia. Remember with the suspect who fell down beside an AK-47 at the Quebec mosque, who then became, oh no, he was just a witness. He was just a witness. They all go to Tunisia. This is the inside joke. Little Miss So, how you doing? Anyone know email contact? Yes, absolutely. I'll put that in here. Nova Scotia, NS. That's not Nova Scotia. NS investigators. Did somebody answer you already? Investigators at gmail.com. Is that going to post? I don't know. I'm also on Twitter. Yes. On Twitter. What the hell is my Twitter nonsense? I don't know. You can also reach out to Steve, LTT, or Palango's back. Very nice. Good to see that. Good to see that. Retweet. Okay. I'll just do that. What is my thing here? Okay, here we go. Lil Gray Cells, because some bastard took my name. You know, you have to go around, what do they call it? Branding or some nonsense. I brand cows, done a lot of that before, but yeah, no, you have to take your brand everywhere. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Okay. So there you go. You can reach me at either of those places. You can also reach Steve on the Facebook. I think he's Steve LTT. Or over on his channel. Also his Twitter. You can drop that in here. I'm sure this is just boring for most people. Mr. Moneypenny follows me. Oh! Mr. Moneypenny. I didn't realize he had an account. Holy Christ. My apologies, Mr. Moneypenny. Followed back. Okay. And Margarita. Is that Margarita? No, that's not the Margarita I'm thinking of. Okay. Good afternoon, infidels. Well, just people who like truth. Good people. Good. How are you doing, Point Fire? Twitter won't work. No social media platforms is my preference, if possible. Yes, that's smart. You stay away from this trash. That's what they like. Harvesting individual psychological data, as they do with everything, even your Netflix garbage is being harvested and they all sell it around. But huge business. Do you know that over how many people in the United States are employed directly in data mining? I think it's over 800,000 directly. Usually post description in the links of his video. No, I don't anymore because I'm lazy or something's going on there. Now, flashy cars is the original Men in Black. Jesuits, okay. Drinks, Night of Malta, lots of money. Lots of money. Hegelian dialectic, created stuff, maybe. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. Of course, see, because I'm just so far behind. Can't stay. I'll check out other videos. Why not think of that before? Thanks, Ozzy. Okay. See you later, little Miss So. I don't want to email everyone, just Seamus, but I love you all. But okay. Now you know how. And now you know. Was that Paul? Do many guys remember that guy? Paul. I liked him. The rest of the story. Thanksgiving. Excellent. Thanksgiving Monday. Big Thanksgiving. Lots to be thanks for. Important to always remember all the things to be grateful for. And we certainly do have many things to be grateful for. I am grateful to all of you. I'll tell you that. And I mean that. I think I communicate in a way that people don't quite understand. But they're like, he seems like a weirdo. I probably am, but I'm quite genuine in my thoughts. I've still got nothing to be thankful for yet when it comes to Canada. We absolutely do have many things to be thankful for. Just we need to clean up our backyard. Investigating or purging. Well, they like to purge O drives and deletions, and oh yes, many times they've been found. This seems to be a problem. Mr. Tim Submarine Torpedoing Bousquet, excellent job on the Assume stuff. That actually came up in some documents I was reading. A very big document I have to read. Lots of reading. This murder sounds like cleaning you loose ends. Leather could blend in and is undercover for donut theft. I don't think, I mean, maybe that's his morals, but frankly, I don't think so. I think it's just because he's a puss. Sorry, I just call it how I see it. He shits his pants. Can't even give a press conference without sitting there, and I love that. Sorry, Mr. Leather, and sorry to those of you who are related to him. I apologize, but once you're done selling your soul and you want to come back, because all people are possible. There's possibility of redemption. Once you want to get your head out of the toilet, all of you, oh, look at that. There's another one. Who's this? This guy sells out his own wife and kid. Fucking dirtbag. God, his smile scares the piss out of me. Whew. That guy, I don't know if you can do anything with him. Wow. Scary guy. He lies and he smiles about it. It's spooky. That interview, if you guys aren't familiar with that lengthy interview that McMillan did with Campbell, that took over a week to compile, 5 minutes on the cutting room floor with one reporter. Seems a bit sketchy. He's smiling. and he's clearly lying, and you know that. All of you do who know the story. And he's just like, don't answer anything you can't tell lies. Lies are abhorrent. This is where and the acceptance of them. But we don't have to accept them. I don't. Just anybody who wants to lie, you can get the fuck out of my life. Frankly, that's where I prefer all these clowns go. And definitely, I don't want to pay you any money. No more. You get the fuck out. You can go clean a toilet. If American Intel had info on Gabriel Wortman, it would have been shared. Don't know about that. I don't know about that. Remember, he said, some things they say is true. Sorting through the wheat from the chaff is difficult, but they were working together with their American counterparts. I think it's also a bit of a red herring, but organized crime investigating organized crime using perfect. Todd, you sum it up always so well with good humor. Alex McLean. Hello, Alex. How are you doing? Are you new? Welcome. Chiang Love, back again. What's going on? Do you have a good Thanksgiving? Or is your dinner tonight? Aussie, Danforth ISIS attack, Richmond Hill bomb makers, etc. Actually, that was a bad word to say. That's a very bad word. I have to be careful what I say. Even though they tanked this channel. It's interesting. I was literally watching, as they were removing likes from the video yesterday. No word of a lie. So they don't want to play fair on this one. Yes. So this was interesting. I should just get through your comments first. Hi from Oshawa. Red Arrows. Welcome. How are you doing? How's your Thanksgiving? Leon, have any insights regarding Gabriel Wortman's relationships with corrections officers? That's not, I don't even know how to answer that question. Leon does not want to talk about any of the victims, and that's fair. And I totally understand that. He does not want to. And I think, frankly, we can uncover the truth without having to dig into people's pasts, because these are, at the end of the day, victims. And when I say that, I'm not meaning anything that I'm inferring. I'm not inferring anything at all. These are victims. So let's just stay away from digging into people's pasts, hopefully as much as possible. Elizabeth Lepore. What is that? C channel. Okay. Is that the person's channel? Elizabeth? Very nice old lady I know who had the last name or first name of Elizabeth, just died recently. Very nice. Too bad. 592 Bluetooth object tracker heat planes. Okay. 5 GPS. Okay, interesting. I will definitely have a look at that. Cyber stuff. Okay. Yes, the COS, what's their deal? We're going to avoid that one. I'm not going to talk about it. I think that's fair. These people have been, anyway. Okay, let's see here. Tim Bousquet is phenomenal investigative journalist. Anything else, or any member of the Examiner writes, it makes for great toilet paper. Save Paul's articles, Paul. But they got everybody in that boat. Anybody who's subscribed as a result of Paul, I would strongly advise unsubscribing. However, you just put yourself on a list. That's the only thing, but you're already there. Do remember that his informant ceases, right? Very sketchy. Very sketchy. Out of the United States. Paul, or Tim. Tim. His eyes are dead. I'm very hopeful for Leather's redemption. I'm counting on it. Well, I'm very hopeful for anybody. I always am. Always. Anybody who, including my own. I'm not above having issues in my own life, but we can try and live in a world. So shared this to Facebooks, so you may get new viewers. Welcome all. I appreciate that. Thank you, Ozzy. Hopefully you're not going to get in trouble for advertising or something like that, And it's not about, I just care about the truth getting out. That's it. Anybody is welcome also to download anything. And I know Blue asked that yesterday. I haven't answered my comments by and large from yesterday. Thanks for those of you that leave them. If I don't answer them, please do understand it's nothing to do with you personally. I just very disorganized. Like literally, I threw my phone because I'm so disorganized and have so many things on the go. I put my phone into the washing machine. Call me, names and you're dumb, but I don't think I'm super undereducated or anything. I did okay there, but wow, absent-minded. Got lost on the brain. So yes, you feel free to download anything, repost it, do whatever you want. Obviously, I do welcome ears and eyes, and of course this brains. I love brains. Should be getting ready for dinner, but you're cutting into my work. Don't you know? I'm sorry, Jang. I don't want to be disturbing your work. And dinner. Yum. Very exciting. If Gabriel was working with U.S. assets controlled by U.S. agencies, they wouldn't torch the network no matter what. Look at what they did. Yes. Well, 9/11, you and I both kind of know something about that. Burned Out Rage. How's it going? How are you doing? How you doing? I can understand why Leon won't speak publicly about victims. I respect him for that. He's a very, very respectable man. Very respectable man. And again, he messaged this morning. He was asking, what did he say this morning? He was excited about how many people had heard his message. I obviously don't want to be breaking confidences, but I don't think he is. He's going out, and good for him. He's going to have a nice day out. He's a very backwoods kind of guy. Loves the woods, of course, and his dogs, Iserman and Basil, and all kinds of good stuff. Why won't I speak on the officers? Why is that fair or not? Like I said, it's just a personal choice for me. I'm not going to do that. I wish to have as many allies as possible, and I don't want to upset anybody more than they already upset. I mean, I was talking this morning to Steve about some of the, well, not sorry, not Steve. I was speaking to him. That's why I was delayed. But to to somebody else this morning about how I think the victims, hopefully they will come forward and at least share their personal side, because there's something people need to hear, which is the humanity and the real grief and things that they go through, just that we take it for granted. It's quite it's not that I'm not investigating it or anything, Little Miss. So I'm honestly, it's just I think you understand where I'm coming from. I believe it's not anything, obviously. I don't even know how to answer that. It's a difficult one. Did Gabriel Wortman contract with Corrections Canada? I don't know. I don't know if he did have a contract with Corrections Canada or not. That's a totally valid question. Hey, my Lord, who do we have in here? Who do we have in here? What the fuck, man? Oh my. Welcome. Long time. Missing you, buddy. Missing you. Hope you're having an awesome Thanksgiving. I'm doing okay. Haven't had any contact with Adrian. Those of you who are unfamiliar with Adrian, he's been working hard in the background on this. That won't work very well, will it? He is one of the 4 please go over and subscribe to his channel. He does phenomenal investigative work. I've had the great opportunity to work with Adrian and know him personally for years now. I think we've had a video band or 2 together. So we think it's great. We have great visits. So very good people. Yes, I washed my phone because I'm just so stupid. Seamus used Hillary's poor man's bleach bit on. Yeah. And then I couldn't open up the machine. I couldn't open it up when I realized that it was in there. The door locked and stuff, and I couldn't get the water out, and I had to research that. Oh, thank goodness for rice. I believe, that'll all, if there is something, so there's something there, Little Miss. So, to which again, I'm really not going to make any comment on, other than I just feel very, very badly for both of their families. But it's not something I don't. Yeah. It's a tough one, and I'm sure you can understand my position, right? That's a tough one. Always worry about potential allies. Yep. We all need, my grandfather had a good saying. He said, you need as many allies as you can in your corner sometimes. And for a message to carry, who are we really going after? Who are we really going after? Just the same as the RCMP saying we're investigating a dead man. Now, we can look at the dead man's components of his life, etc. But is there going to be a trial? What purpose does that serve? None. Understanding some of the story is very important, but who at the end of the day was the one that failed, as Leon eloquently demonstrated yesterday? Who was it that failed? Failed Canadians, and fails Canadians en masse. So this is why we have repeated incidents like this, because of these bungling things. Old people die. People dying all around these people for no reason. So to me, that's the bigger target. And that's the one that we can really make a difference on, so that we don't have incidents like this happen again. It is tough. It is tough. Hey, Marin. There was an interesting, how's it going? How are you doing? But not my brain. My phone was washed, but not my brain. Well, it's clean now. I wish I could honestly say that. My another phone, it's dirty too. Fuck, I just get it. It's echoing and doing things. I'm just, hello, whatever. How are you doing today? Let's look at the links he puts in, because probably they may have something in here. 8 arrested in connection with drug trafficking investigation across New Brunswick. Now, there was an interesting bust. I'm going to have to try and go back in my somewhere in there washed brain, and remember there was a big bust on one individual in New Brunswick not that long after. Fairly large, substantial. Maybe you guys know. If you guys know, please put the name in the link below. He had a lot of weapons and a lot of drugs, and it major takedown. I think there was collaboration between 4 to 5 units, and I believe CFSEU, which is something. So, sorry, I didn't link Adrian's channel. So please go and check it out if you haven't. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Awesome to see him. All right, now, CFSEU. CFSEU, I believe it is. Bergman was the head of that in Ontario. Okay. Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit. Disregard the BC thing. It applies in certain provinces. Ontario, BC, in the Maritimes. Those are the ones I'm familiar with. Combined Special Forces Unit of British Columbia. Okay, again, disregard. Quote, Integrated Anti-Gang Police Agency. Integrated. CFSEU is the largest integrated police program in Canada, out there in BC, made up of members from every police force department in BC, including the RCMP and some other agencies, which are unlisted, with over 400 officers. And these officers operate very off the radar. They operate as regular officers, and their job, as has been told to me by somebody in the RCMP, that their understanding is that this organization is intimidation, basically. They will intimidate on force. also recognizes it has a part to play. Okay, so you're going to have to see through the garbage language in education of the public with respect to gangs and the effects of gang violence, and prevent youth and young adults from joining gangs and falling prey to the lures of gang life. And you can see, I mean, just how complicated this organization is, and I'll tell you, there are other organizations that are tied to CFSEU, not just municipal agencies. There's also CSE, I believe, is tied in with them. Canadian Forces, funnily enough, is tied in with them. Very, very interesting unit. And it's come up in this. So if you put in I'm not spelling her name right, I don't believe, but she has some very interesting things. She moved to unsolved homicide 7 years. She was transferred to Ontario 2007, where she worked for. See all these fucking names, right? I mean, this is how complicated this stuff gets. Joint Force Operations, including overseeing investigations, commander of the Combined Special Forces Enforcement Unit. Okay, so she was commander of that for Ontario. She went back to BC. All these guys come out of BC. Very interesting. Federal serious crimes. And you can find how she did undercover work, I believe. If you put something in her husband, Mike Butcher, also. You have Leather, also. And Campbell has definitely gone to school and does work with the FBI on a cooperative level. Let's just see if we can find something about her undercover work. She has worked in undercover, but quite a bit. Extensive career in undercover police work. This undercover stuff. So, you're talking about a lot of undercover stuff, and you can find her boyfriend, Mike Butcher, husband, I don't know, use the same name. Let's see. Muscadobin. I think I've got that name correct. Muscadobin. Let's see if we can find Mike Butcher. No. I'll have to dig up the obituary where they're listed, and both of them, and they speak about their undercover work. That was sent to me by somebody kindly. Mike Butcher, yes, Mike Butcher. Supposedly out of BC, but lives in Nova Scotia. And of course, in charge of the senior disclosure analyst. Disclosure. And so much more. And so much more. Let's see here. Retired again. So you can't stay away. Mike was then employed by Toronto CFSEU. There he is again. See? Lots of stuff. Anyways, something to be on the lookout for, because I suspect you'll see CFSEU float up. It has definitely, in my research, in respect to a lot of this stuff. 8 arrested in connection with drug trafficking investigation across New Brunswick, August 29th, 2019. 8 people have been arrested following a drug trafficking investigation in Moncton, Fredericton, and Woodstock on Wednesday. New Brunswick RCMP say 5 search warrants were executed at residence on Dominion Street, Donovan Terrace, and Leicester Avenue in Moncton, as well as on Homestead Road in Steve's Mountain and Cedar Circle in Douglas. During the searches, police, quote, during the searches, police seized quantities of drugs believed to be methamphetamines and cocaine, as well as several firearms and cash. Police said on a news release, 5 men and 3 women, all ranging from the ages of 17 to 49, were arrested. During the searches, according to the police, 4 were released, but 26-year-old man was held in custody. People who don't get charged, always very interesting. Jesse Todd Logue appears in Moncton Provincial Court, where he's charged with 2 counts of drug possession for the purposes of trafficking. Well, I thought they seized a whole shit pile of firearms. Proceeds of crime. There we go. Proceeds of crime. Weapons. Why is he not getting charged with that? He remains in custody and is scheduled to appear in court again on Tuesday. Police investigation began early 2019, involved members of the Kodiak Regional RCMP. Oh yes, they were in that bust. I bet you this is tied to the one I'm thinking of. It was a large bust. Police say the investigation began 2019 was involved members of Kodiak Regional RCMP, the New Brunswick RCMP West District, Southeast District, and specialized unit, as well as Fredericton Police and Woodstock Police Forces. So, I mean, this is a fairly major takedown. And of course, August 2019. Okay. And so the family is afraid. So this is what they do. Now, another interesting thing to note is, of course, I think most of you know Lively has been charged for the hit and run, I suppose, would it be called? Hit and run? Terribly injured two men. But another person in this story got charged. What do you want? Oh, okay. Another person in this story got charged. The Nova Scotia shooting. And that would be, and pled guilty in a plea, would be Paul Wortman in Moncton Provincial Court just the other day. He was charged, apparently, with obstruction, theft over $5,000. He's an old man. Obstruction of justice. But you do notice, what was it, the cousin article? They like to call it the cousin. I don't know if they're going to name him Wortman. Yeah, okay, here we go. So this just appeared the other day, right? A lot of damage control going on. Lots and lots of damage control. Could an RCMP cousin have done anything about the Nova Scotia gunman's alleged violence and crimes? It's been nearly 6 months since the horrific killing spree. I wonder where that CERT report is. A little overdue. Shit. 3 months? You actually broke your mandated purpose. Hey, there's Tara too. Happy Thanksgiving. I gave you a call. Hope all is well. Everybody was wishing you well yesterday. 6 months since the horrific killing spree that killed 22 people in Nova Scotia, and while the RCMP investigation continues, so does speculation on whether the attack could have been prevented. Police documents released last month revealed that the gunman had a cousin in the RCMP who claims to have known Gabriel Wortman beat up his father and had a private life at, quote, almost a career criminal who never got caught. That cousin also told police that he, quote, knew Gabriel Wortman was capable of killing someone, but never thought that he went on a rampage. A criminologist, however, says it's unlikely or impossible that this relative, duty-bound to preserve the peace and prevent crime, could have done anything to change Wortman's trajectory, despite the knowledge of Wortman's alleged violence and illegal activity. I don't know where this person went to school, but it's clearly a special needs school. I don't mean that in an offensive way on people who have need help. I do mean that in quite a derogatory sense. You're going to say it's going to be difficult. Oh, you got booted. That's not so good. Not so good. Welcome back. It's not so good to say that you're aware of career criminal. Let's see what else it says in here. I wonder if it's going to go on, because there's some stuff. There's some stuff in these warrants that they don't. You notice how these don't come out publicly? Like the other ones? One has to wonder why the media isn't releasing that. Might want to ask them. Might want to tweet them. Say, where's those warrants that you're referring to? I never see them. I would like to look at them. They're my property. They are your property. Quote, you need evidence, and evidence that a Crown prosecutor would say is sufficient to proceed to trial, says the Carleton University criminology professor Daryl Davies, a frequent commentator, on RCMP and policing issues in Canada. This person, clearly Daryl Davies, doesn't have any horse in the race at all, right? Frequent commentator on RCMP to the media. Daryl has a side job. Sowing all kinds of garbage. Quote, simply saying someone in a detachment where you work, quote, my cousin. Like, see, they have to insert that word. Is a psycho. Psycho. Who determines psycho? I guess that must be his degree. The cousin's degree is in psychology. And DSM, you can't diagnose shit, buddy. Shut the fuck up. Let's go to people who are experts. Give them the facts. Otherwise, shut it. That doesn't mean anything. Zero. Even if the cousin was stationed at the same province that the gunman lived, he would have required more secondhand information and his observations in order to intervene, Davies explained, especially in the absence of other witnesses and formal a complaint. Must be the English they're teaching in schools these days. I don't know. Formal a complaint to police. Quote, there are individuals in our society right now that are extremely dangerous. So we got some editing there. Extremely dangerous people, and neither the community nor the police are capable to incapacitate these people, and they won't be able to until something horrific happens, said Davies. Sorry, but that's our legal system. Sorry about you, Davies. Derp, Davies. Derp. Carlton. No offense on Carlton. Has a bit of a reputation. Anyways, moving along. Wortman was 51 years old when he dressed as an RCMP officer and went on a rampage spanning 16 crime scenes, setting houses ablaze and killing 23 innocent people. Can't get this one right, even though the families, who are the ones that actually have a say in this matter, have requested that you do that. No, media, you want to still continue with your bullshit. In an interview after the April attack, they edited that out. Or no, they didn't. Sorry, they edited out Harry said, no, they're not telling the truth about the that they wanted to work together on the convoy. Anyways, moving along. Scrubbing interviews. Still doing it. Damage control. Archiving, downloading, very good. Cannot encourage it. More. In an interview after the April attack, the cousin told RCMP Sergeant Corey Kilbourne that Wortman had a, quote, difficult upbringing, describing him as a strange little guy whose parents were bizarre. The cousin's name, who's redacted in the documents obtained through a court challenge launched by Global and other media outlets, said he pretty much grew up with Wortman. He described, it must be like probably, no, obviously I'm not saying that, but it sounds like Brenda Forbes, maybe. You know, how Leon clarified that actually he wasn't around that much. But Brenda Forbes knew him real well. She knows Glenn real well. She knows the cousin in the United States real well. Oh, the web. He described the gunman as being paranoid about money, quote, scammer and opportunist, who put himself through university by smuggling tobacco and alcohol across the U.S. border and plotted to cheat Revenue Canada. The pair visited one another on multiple occasions over the years. Oh, media. You sound like you see him all the time. Kind of almost like Aga Khan and Trudeau, who never saw him, you know? But the media told you that he did. But he quite openly admitted, I haven't seen him in fucking years. He being Trudeau. Said, I haven't seen Aga Khan in forever. I only saw him at my dad's funeral. I saw him when I was a little boy, and that was the last time. The pair visited one another on multiple occasions over the years. During the visits, at least one in Portapique, the cousin told police he never saw illegal weapons. He never saw illegal weapons. That kind of sounds like Brenda. Sounds kind of like Leon. Sounds like a lot of people didn't see these weapons or police vehicles in Wortman's cottage or warehouse. That sounds like what Leon said. But he knew that Wortman associated with criminals by having, quote, 2 convicts working on the property in Portapique, living in a trailer. And we asked Leon about that. Leon is quite good, and he says, I don't know everything, obviously, nor would I claim to, but I'm not aware of any convicts. I was aware of Peter Allen Griffin, who lived with his mom I don't think he actually stated that, but this business about the two on the cottage, I don't know. Right, cousin. At one point, the cousin said police were called to an incident between Wortman and his parents, but nothing ever came of it. The cousin ended their in-person relationship in 2016 after a family vacation they both attended in the Dominican Republic, which Wortman beat up his father. Oh, I remember reading about this actually on the Facebook of one of the family members, because there were a few, I think a few of the Banfields may have gone. No mention of any beating in there, that said he had a great time. He told Sergeant Kilbourne he, quote, knew as a police officer he had to distance himself. As a police officer, he had to distance himself from Gabriel. Does that sound like a good police officer? You know, the one who, or is it like these elderly people who did their duty as just citizens? Or this shitbag who's sworn to protect and uphold the law? Did he do his duty reporting? Oh no, he didn't. It's unclear today whether the cousin who retired from the Mounties sometime after 2012 ever reported Wortman to police. Unclear. Investigated what he knew of Wortman's alleged crimes, or even discouraged Wortman's behavior on a personal level. Hey, you! I'm a police officer. I'm going to hang around with you. You're a criminal. Stop that. That's fine. You just continue. What kind of police officer? I wonder if this is Chris. No, it's not. Since the attack, reporting by Global News and other media outlets have revealed multiple red flags that were raised to police about the gunman's alleged history of violence, but due to privacy concerns, police are unable to say who raised them, family or not. Really? According to Nova Scotia RCMP, in 2010, someone complained to police that Wortman was uttering threats, a matter investigated by Halifax Regional Police that did not result in charges. 1 year later, someone tipped off police that he had a large stash of weapons and intended to kill a cop. Who's the someone? Whose are all these someones? It's interesting how the media never gets to go and talk to the someone. Like Glenn. They know Glenn's name. Glenn apparently witnessed things. Did you notice how they never talked to Glenn? They talked to Brenda, who heard about something. She just heard about something. Rumor mill in the fucking neighborhood, which Leon said, I don't know anything about that. Mind you, she lived there years before. But, Brenda's, I guess, a lot more in tune to the rumor mill. And Glenn, with the iPad that slips against her chest and screen that's magically dark and voice that's muffled. Ooh! Good job, Gerster. Oh, by the way, Jane, congrats on the book deal. Boom! When did you get the book deal, Jane? Do you want to tell us about that, Jane? The one person who got to interview her from Ottawa. The other day, Brenda made a recording of a black screen with a muffled voice. But she knows that it's Glenn. Have you ever heard from Glenn? No. Just like Brenda brought out Samuelson down in the United States. Brought him out. Oh, Samuelson, the adopted brother, and said, oh, all these things. Samuelson did not want to comment. How interesting. Nobody wants to comment except for Brenda and book deal people. Who else getting book deals? Book deals. Ooh. According to Nova Scotia RCMP, a third report was made to police by the gunman's former neighbor. Oh, looky Lou. Looky Lou. That he had a cache of weapons and had beaten his girlfriend publicly. Sorry, did she witness that? Did she witness that? And RCMP have no record of that report to this day. Forbes spoke to Global News at length about her experiences. Portapique and drove her husband, which drove her and her husband to head out of Portapique in 2014. Oh, I'm just going to have to. I have to. I'm sorry. I know I have to keep going through it. Just so that it becomes clear, I'm going to go and read her article in depth. I'm going to grab a coffee. So please go and grab a coffee if you want. We will go through Brenda's article. And we will have a look at exactly what did Brenda see firsthand, witness. What did she see? Jane Gerster. Look at that. Jane Gerster. Okay. Coffee time. Back in a moment. Oh, Brenda. Who art thou, Brenda? Nova Scotia gunman says she tried to stop him earlier. May 22nd. Jane Gerster. Let's just have a look at Jane just quickly. Let's try Jane Gerster book deal. Actually, that's a book RCMP. Let's have a look at that. Oh. Daily Deals. Jane Gerster's investigation into the RCMP. Jane Gerster's McClellan and Stewart has acquired the world rights to Jane Gerster's For the Good of the Force in a 2-book deal. Book deal. Oh, it'll be coming to your shelves in 2022. Not even done. Brenda Forbes, 62, wanted proof. So the other day, Forbes balanced her iPad on her lap. The other day. Who was there to witness her the other day? What day was it? Was it May 22nd? Was it obviously not 2 a.m.? Posting? Was the person there to witness this? Oh, perhaps not. Forbes, that might be coming from Forbes. Forbes balanced her iPad and Jane on her lap. And set it to start recording and called Glenn Wortman on the Messenger app from her phone. That requires that he has Facebook. To the best of my knowledge, he does not. Hi, Wortman can be heard. Who's hearing it? Can be heard saying his voice is slightly muffled. And the screen is clear? Oh no, dark. The iPad having slipped and fallen against Forbes' body while they spoke. Yes, you know. Well, I'm still not even finished unraveling their garbage. It's deep, man. How's it going? She answered back. Wortman and Forbes met in Nova Scotia around 2007. Friends through cadets, but tied together now by Wortman's nephew, who killed 23 people last month in the worst mass murder in Canadian history. The rampage started in Portapique, a community about 100 kilometers west of Truro, Nova Scotia. The gunman was, for about a decade, Forbes' neighbor. For a decade. Locked in a property dispute with his uncle Wortman. Doesn't sound like he has any gripe either. Global News has verified the audio with Wortman. How did you do that? I'm not still quite understanding why you didn't interview Wortman. You can verify his voice. How did you do that? With a muffled voice? How did you do that? Strange Hope LGC returns. Sorry, I'm not understanding what that comment means. Perhaps you can elaborate. Truth, I'd appreciate it. muffled screen and dark. But somehow, and it was recorded the other day, but somebody was there to witness it, but it wasn't the reporter. I'm failing to understand exactly what kind of bullshit piece this is. One of my friends looked at this piece. He just laughed his ass off. He's like, oh my God. Who said he witnessed his nephew abuse his partner repeatedly? Wouldn't that be the person that you would want to hear from? Logically? Or would you want to hear from her? But let's see. Maybe she sees lots and lots of fucking things. Maybe she does. Forbes, who said she finally left the community in 2014 with her husband because the gunman called Wortman because she wanted proof. She wanted proof. She didn't want to do that before, you know. Only a month after this had happened. She didn't want to do it years ago and report it to the media. Oh no. It felt necessary. It felt necessary, she says, after the RCMP told Global News it had not found a record of Forbes reporting the gunman to them in 2013 for domestic violence and a cache of weapons. You know, funnily enough, I think I might actually believe the RCMP in this case. They might not have a record of it. Their response worried her. I do not want people not to believe me. See how they sew it? Not to believe me, she told Global News. I tell the truth. Do you see what happened? How many times do we have to be told that she's telling the truth? A person who tells the truth doesn't need to sit there and fucking brag about it. Twice in one sentence. My Lord, you got a problem. Forbes worried about finding herself in a scenario where nobody else spoke up about the gunman's history. She worried about that. Did she? Did she? Who does this serve? Is this called, in psychology, deflection? Look over there. See that bad guy? Nothing here to look at. Yeah. No, the hell I'm not, she says. Then almost immediately she apologizes for the swear word. This would be referring to the fact that she's dishonest. Got to tell you again. A couple minutes late into the taped call with the muffled voice and black screen. Taped. She asked him if he remembers when she asked him to tell the RCMP that the gunman beat up his partner. Oh my. Leading, Your Honor? Objection? Leading? You're asking an old man. An old man, we'll learn that, right? Of course. Lives in an old folks' home with his muffled voice and dark screen. No presence on Facebook. To what I've found, anyway. She's going to ask him, hey, do you remember about that time? That time that you told me about Wardy beaten up? Actually, Wardy. Sorry, he's back on. He is on Facebook right now. Funnily enough, he is now. I should have. She asked him to tell the RCMP, the gunman that beat up his partner. She remembers. I should have remembered. And then a few minutes later, he would have killed me if I still lived there. The proof that Forbes wanted. You know, funnily enough, what kind of proof would be pretty good is if you had a few people. How about start with Glenn? How about start with Glenn Jane? Glenn? You know, the guy who witnessed stuff? Not some lady with an iPad who made a recording that you can't see, you can't hear. How did you verify his voice? The first time Forbes and her husband George met the gunman was in 2003 or 4, just a year or two after the couple moved nearly 5,000 kilometers from Edmonton to be closer to George's ailing parents. His house was a 5-minute walk from theirs. Not exactly close by. And when they sat on their deck, they could see his what? Deck? Has anybody looked at his property? How far can you see? That's 5 minutes. Can you walk 5 minutes and see what's going on 5 minutes away that you've walked with detail? No. And his deck is, I think they're referring to his deck kind of in the back on the river. She'd see him shoot guns off that deck. The gunman recognized both Forbes and her husband as military, she says, invited them over. He showed them weapons, she says, rifles and pistols. Then the gunman asked his new neighbors if they could help him get certain types of weapons or even a few live rounds. This part actually I might believe, but not on a first meeting. And not... Anyways, both me and my husband looked at each other and went, "No, Gabriel, that's illegal." Forbes recounts. The alarm bells were blaring. If it's illegal, question, why didn't you report it? Answer, oh, you didn't. Oops. Sorry, moving along. The RCMP did not answer specific questions. Oh, that's common. Works out well in their favor. About the gunman's weapons collection in early 2000s. We do know that he used a weapon that he had from back then. However, Corporal Jennifer Clark said via an email, oh, surprise, that any complaints that don't result in charges are protected under the Privacy Act. Right, because who are you protecting? Who are you protecting? Would that be a dead man? Very private. The other person that reported that, who would that be? Oh, that would be the person who wants the proof. Oops. She wants the proof, and she's saying, it's fine, I'm looking for it. Why don't you release the documents, derp? Oh. Forbes remembers being introduced to the gunman's partner around that time. But it wasn't until a year or so later that the partner, the same woman who hid overnight in the woods, 18th, with her no coat. I like how they added that detail into the warrants. May 5th. May 5th. May 5th. Do you want to go back in earlier warrants? just for your fun. This warrant was filed when? Oh, sorry. The 5th day of May. You want to go back and look at the videos that we did almost right away after the warrant started piling out? And cold, and the articles. How many times was that suggested? Oh, they added, wouldn't you know, coat in this one. How handy. That she threw away. I don't need it anymore. This is how I deal with being frozen in the woods. I throw away my coat so that the police can find me. Excuse me? How does that work exactly? Oh my, we're getting fucking snowed. Big time. Wake up, please. Help your friends understand this stuff. But it wasn't a year or so later until the same woman who hid overnight in the woods, April 18th, ran crying to Forbes' house 5 minutes away. Because there weren't any other neighbors closer. No, none. And saying the gunman had beaten her and wouldn't let her leave, blocking her car in the driveway with his truck. Saying. So did she see this one? No. Oops. No, she didn't. Forbes remembers telling her she needed help and that there were organizations to keep her safe. But the woman said, he'll find me. Let's see about Brenda Forbes and Linda MacDonald. How about Halifax Examiner? You know, Tim's paper? Here. Fuck you. Where is it? Yeah, actually, you can't put that because she didn't go by that. Oh, Linda Forbes. Or sorry, Linda Forbes. Yeah, we can do this one probably. McDonald. Fuck off, man. They make things so hard to find now. Bollocks. Why is this fucking bullshit not ever working? I got it in my file. Forbes, McDonald, Nova Scotia, Halifax, Examiner. Okay, let's see here. He's a psychopath with all her military training, you know. She knows how to do that. A former resident. When is this done? May 12th. May 12th. Okay. The first thing Bo thought of. Bo now lives, she granted a telephone interview by her nickname because she fears for her safety. Excuse me? Her safety from what exactly? From a gunman? Oh, by the way, this article ran the same day as National Post ran an article where she was perfectly fine saying her name. No problem there. Sounds like a whole bunch of hooey to me. Now, let's see about Linda. Find Linda. Oh. She also reached out to Linda McDonald. Anybody remember these names? I know I'm being repetitive. Sorry, but I have to be. And Jean Sarson, married to RCMP. 2 nurses in Truro whose self-funded campaign, Persons Against Non-State Torture Vomit, aims to combat torture of women and girls driven by misogyny. MacDonald and Sarson were signatories into a recent statement. These people are interesting too. On the mass shooting by 7 Nova Scotia feminists fighting femicide, calling for an inquiry. Oh, so the same people that reached out and started this nonsense are the same people that Brenda Bo Forbes reached out to. Bo recounted to MacDonald and Sarson. Who? MacDonald and Sarson. The history of her terrifying interactions with Gabriel Wortman, especially her extreme concern over the way he was able to get away with repeated abuse to his spouse. After she spoke with them, MacDonald asked her if she would share her story with Halifax Examiner. Does that sound like the normal course of doing things? I'm going to reach out to a feminist group so that the feminist group can reach out to Tim Bousquet, who then we can do this. I know. But thanks for coming out. Let's continue. Forbes members are telling, okay, so why didn't Linda McDonald, who they're friends with, she's friends with this person. Forbes and McDonald are friends. Why didn't Forbes say, perhaps you can talk to my friend, because she knows lots about abuse back then? Oh, no. That would be like the report. Oops. Who called? Who could keep her safe? But the woman said, he'll find me. The woman went home, says Forbes. After what? Recounting something. Hearsay. After that, they saw each other, but mostly in passing in community gatherings. It felt like any time that his partner started to have fun, the gunman would drag her away from us. That's very vague words, and I like how the quotation is just taken out there. Not a complete sentence. It's just taken out of context. What's it contexted in? Forbes says, at the time, she felt dismissed by her neighbors when she raised concerns. Why did they question what you were saying? Would they not also know? Oh, is this like you need the proof? I'm not a liar. I need proof. The hell I'm not. Oh no, she says. They told her, he's a nice guy. I'm not defending this man by any stretch. Please don't mistake me. What I am saying is, watch the snowing. The myth that nice guys don't commit assaults is pervasive, even still. Chanel Miller, the woman whose victim impact statement. Okay, and then we start getting into this. Okay, does this have anything to do with the price of tea in China? Her acclaimed memoir, Know My Name. Doesn't. Has nothing to do with Brenda Forbes. I'm not going to be talking about my buddy Frank in an interview with Leon. Has nothing to do with it. Moving along. in 2013. So now we're at, what, 5-6 years. Forbes, what? Heard the horrifying story on the gunman beating and strangling his partner in front of two men, illegal weapons visible nearby. Wortman told her, she says, because he was there. Why are you not speaking to Wortman again? Why are we hearing about Chinese telephone from a woman who's friends with Linda McDonald? Why don't you just go and talk to black screen muffled voice Wortman? Yes, exactly. That's called manipulation. Psychological warfare. He told her, he told her that when the other men went to intervene, that the other man, see, we have two anonymous men and a man who has a gripe with Mr. Wortman, his uncle, who ripped him off. He told her, and lives in an old folks home, that when he went to intervene, the gunman's partner called him off, something to the effect of, "Don't stop, you're just making it worse." Again, taking it out of context. Don't stop, you're just making it worse. What is the context? I'm just simply asking questions that everybody should ask. Forbes called the Mounties, but says they didn't get too far because none of the witnesses were willing to speak with them. You mean like none of the witnesses are willing to speak with Global or any of the media? Seems about right. Except this time, he's dead. Oh, right, but that's because she needs to fucking hide her name. The same day that National Post runs her name because she's so terrified of a dead man. I don't think it works on you, but you know, Fear, it's not. I'm trying to help other people see it. Because there's lots of people who watch who don't know this kind of stuff. Forbes remembers her call with Wortman. She asked if he would be willing to speak with RCMP, and she says he told her. That's called hearsay. No way, because the gunman already told me he's killed somebody in the United States. He'll kill me if I say anything. Again, why are you not asking Glenn? He's got a fucking memory, doesn't he? In response to the allegation, the gunman may have killed before. A spokeswoman or spokesperson for the RCMP told Global News is, quote, looking into every possible investigative avenue. Here we go with that. And it's ongoing investigation, whether he beat his girlfriend or not. She reiterated that the force has received no complaint from Forbes. No, that's because it's coming via Forbes, Bo, who then becomes Brenda Forbes, who then becomes the friend of Linda McDonald, who then goes to Tim, who then pumps out a story, I think the RCMP may be telling the truth here, but it works in their favor. A Mountie told Global News is not identifying because they are not authorized to speak about the case, said that they could be only one of a few reasons that Forbes is wrong. The officers who responded to the case didn't log it, or that they logged it but found no criminality. So the record management system is purged to free up space every few years. Any complaint that was made to the RCMP where no charges are laid is protected under the Privacy Act, and as such, I'm not able to provide further detail, says Corporal Clark. On what? A dead man? I think we all know who it is, or is this a surprise? Yeah, you can see through the fake news. Sometime after the 2013 incident, Forbes said she saw women who were not only the gunman's partner coming in and out of his house for a while, mentioned it to Wortman. She thinks he must have gotten drunk and let it slip to the gunman, who came to her house one night screaming at her husband. Let's read that again here. Sometime after the 2013 incident, Forbes says she saw women who were not only the gunman's partner coming in and out of his house for a while, and mentioned it once to Wortman. Who, Glenn or the Wortman? She thinks he must have gotten drunk and let it slip to the gunman. Oh, sorry. My apologies. Who then came to her house one night screaming at her husband. Why would he come to her house? Fuck off, man. When George went to the military tour, oh my goodness, so they have guns, lots of military training. Forbes would see the gunman drive up to her house, park out in front, and what? Stare at her for half-hour stretches over and over. When George came back and saw it happen, they were done. This time, she didn't call police because she needs to believe her and all that other stuff. When it gets tough, the tough get going, Forbes says. It's a military mentality ingrained in her. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So what do? The couple moved to Halifax because he was what? Staring at her. Are you fucking serious? Serious? How long did they stay in Halifax, do you think? That back in Alberta to 2019. Now, in other articles you can read, she says how terrified she was in Halifax. I'm terrified I'm going to run into him in the store for 3 years because he was what? Staring at her. Staring at two military people. With decades of service, if you believe who she is. I don't. Every single person has a responsibility to take warning signs of gender-based violence seriously, says Linda McDonald. A human rights advocate in Nova Scotia who's been supporting Forbes or being her friend or what? Sorry? In publicly sharing her story with Tim Bousquet, the same one that torpedoed Paul. Torpedo. Paul wrote his stories. And then what does Tim do? He says, no, Paul's stuff is shit. And here's my source, a CSIS agent. Excuse me? Yeah. McDonald doesn't use the term warning signs or red flags to describe precursors of mass murder, of domestic violence, which is one of the biggest. McDonald is one of many feminists calling in Nova Scotia to hold an independent inquiry on the shootings. One, she says, needs to include a look at how the red flares are missing. Forbes wants that too. One of many feminists. That would be 7. Have a look at them. Have a look at them. Well, people have to pay attention. They're all coming from the same place. These ones. Getting grants and things. Book deals, grants. Lots of people getting lots of stuff here. People have to pay attention. Domestic violence should never go hidden, she says. It should go reported and act on right away. If you have all kinds of military training, why didn't George go over there? How about that one? How about you? You could deal with it, I'm sure. Oh, what is that, right? Oh, yes, you're into personal security. With your dog. Doesn't have it, So, of course, you can see this just is a complete smear campaign. It's borne out, too, in lived experiences. Before Forbes joined the military, she worked on an oil rig. There, she said she was assaulted. I had nobody to help me, so I'm an advocate. Okay, so then you got all kinds of military training. You're a rig pig. Your husband is in the military. You're pretty fucking tough, actually. If you listen to her interview with CBC, very interesting. She's like, she comes off like total tough pants. And what does she do? Staring at her, so she becomes an advocate for staring. The fuck, man. See you later, Dave. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful fucking day. Okay. So, look at her contacts, look at her friends. You'll start to see the web that I'm talking about, and it's very extensive. Oh, and then, it's not the same one I'm talking about, because the one that I was talking about, they updated her LinkedIn page. Remember how it used to say that she lived in Bass River, Nova Scotia, just down the road? As does her husband, George, Bass River. You better update his LinkedIn page, too. Already got screenshots of that and archived. So you can do it. But your story is shit. Let's try this. Brenda Forbes. Camrose. That's apparently where she lives now, right? Apparently. And she graduates from high school. Same year I graduated from high school. She's 62. Getting fucking old. I didn't even know. Now, must include cameras. Okay, now let's see here. What is that? Why is that making noise? Oh, my apologies. Why is that making noise? I love the lag. Brenda Forbes. Oh, there's all her military medals because she works with her safety dog or PTSD dog. See how it's updated now? She lives in Camrose. Talking before, we were showing her LinkedIn page. It was at Bass River. All of a sudden it changes. She graduates from high school in 1993. How do you graduate in high school in 1993, but you're 62? Don't know. Now, October 5th, 2020, Camrose. September 29th, 2020, May 24th, 2020. All the mentions of her in Camrose all come after Camrose Booster, April 21st, 2020. They all come afterwards. After the shooting. Why? Why? Oops, sorry, I wasn't sharing that. All the mentions of her in Camrose. I don't know why this isn't in quotation marks now. Meaning, when you do this, any mention of her in Camrose only appears after the shooting. Why is that? Why is that? Very strange how that happens. There's a bunch of articles about her in the Camrose paper. But they're only afterwards. Seems like it's almost as if she just moved there. As if she didn't live there. Strange. How many people in this story have said that Mr. Wortman was a woman beater? How many? You guys know the answer. Brenda works for the same government. Strange. Or does she? I don't know. That organization. Fucking sketchy, man. What is this? That's her only job. Physical security. Does that person strike you as physical security? Look at her endorsements. Oh my. Oh. Crisis management. Executive protection. I don't know if that's the PTSD dog that she has, because it certainly isn't her. That 62-year-old woman with the screen floating next to her couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. Independent sector, vital place for nonprofit foundations, corporate giving programs to ensure the U.S. thrive. Where the fuck? Oh, it's based out of Washington. What the fuck is that? Independent sector. But she lives in Camrose, right? With her PTSD dog at 62. Who's this guy? The chair of it. Stephen B. Hines. Let's see here. Stephen B. Hines. Oh. Oh, that's a strange connection. Brenda Forbes. Got a raft of medals. Some of them are like Dorrington's medals. Yeah, you don't stare at her. She might run away. She might just run away. Move to Halifax for 3 years because I'm afraid of running into him. The hell I'm not. The fucking CBC one is classic, man. You guys have to fucking hear the CBC one. If you guys haven't, I don't think I should replay it because it's getting old. But honestly, I'll give you the link. Listen to it. It's mind-boggling. And for us to actually sit back and eat this pablum and believe it is scary. You would never believe somebody who said, well, somebody said they saw something. Somebody said that they saw something. You'd never believe them. You'd be like, well, okay, fine. I'm going to go and talk to that person. Charity housing. As it happens, she only did 2 interviews. You know that she actually reported this shit to her commanding officer, apparently. The staring. Her in her military experience, to which I don't quite understand. Oh, Seamus, that's a different one. No. It's her. They updated it. I mean, look how many fucking Brenda Forbes live in Camrose. Because she was living in fucking Bass River just a little while ago. Where's that? With her. Yeah, whatever. Fuck. Oh, that's George. My apologies. George lives in Bass River. Remember how she's married to George? Okay, so Brenda and a George who live in Bass River. But let's make sure that she lives in Bass River. Which one is this one? Bass River. Oh, that's strange. The same fucking profile. All of a sudden his cameras. What are the chances? Do you really think it's a different Brenda Forbes? And why? Oh, the answer is because of this channel. Literally. The fucking RCMP shit their pants and change the story because this channel, because you do investigative work. They add quotes to warrants, and they will keep rewriting their shit. That's why they drag out the warrant release. Unbelievable. One and only. How you doing? One choice. Only one choice now. How you doing? Who's she friends with? She loves fucking Trudeau. This fucking whoever, Brenda, security with PTSD, 62-year-old physical security. Yeah. Who's graduating in 1993 over in Germany, no less. Brat, military brat. But she's connected to all kinds of people. Just like, let's see here. Who is it? Martin and Associates? I discourage people from, I want to help, obviously. But I believe I shared that with you, Martin and Associates, about the Martin and Associates turning over information to the police and getting sued for it. You think they may do the same thing? You think they may be harvesting data, all of a sudden coming out and they're like, oh, you know what? We want all your stuff. Please bring it here. Give it to us so that we can write new warrants and we can come up with some more fucking fairy tales. Fairy tales. Fish tales. Like they have in Bass River. Whatever it is, you guys, whatever it is that's going on down there is fucking big. Really, really big. And they don't want you to find it. Predate this. Let's see if I can find the article. I can definitely dig it out of my stuff, but let's go backwards. Let's do that. There we go. Convicted killer William Sanderson sues private detective that tipped off police. Those of you down there know Sanderson. Thank you very much also to Nova Scotia guy. That guy does phenomenal work. Really, really honestly does. All of you do, of course. I'm not trying to single any one person out. I wish I could. But in this case, he did bring it. He brings us, and I appreciate anybody who brings anything to my attention. In documents filed in Nova Scotia Supreme Court, William Sanderson alleges that Bruce Webb, along with his former employer, who? Martin and Associates Investigations, owned by Tom Martin, failed to do their fiduciary duty to him, is suing the private detective firm hired to help his defense team, but who instead tipped off Halifax police to incriminating evidence. Huh? I wish I could tell you some of the rest of it. So if you look up Tom Martin, let's see here. Tom Martin's got some good friends too. Let's have a look, actually. I'd like to do this because it's going to be long. Unless he's decided to black that out. That happened to me the other day. Let's see here. There we go. Boom. Okay, we'll wait. For now, Tom Martin. This is Tom Martin. Okay. Tom Martin, who was police, right, by the way. Got some interesting friends. Rob. Frank Dorrington. Sean Banfield. Any of you down there know who Sean Banfield is? He's a private investigator, retired police, and he's friends with Sean Banfield. Who is Sean Banfield? Just so... Convicted drug dealer. Okay. Let's see, news. 3 men face drug trafficking charges after police raid homes. Oh, there's that name. Stephen Guy Lively? That Lively name? Recognize that? Sean Kenneth Banfield of Lance. Lance. Who lives in Lance? Assaulting a 69-year-old man. Oh, he's a big drug dealer. Not big, but he's pretty big. Let's see. Any of you recognize a name in here, please shout out. It's going to take a little while to go through it. But at least then there's a record before they black it out like, well, who did that? Linda did. Got some screenshots of her friends. She has very interesting friends too. Oh, I know him. I want to speak to him, actually, funnily enough. Calvin Lawrence. RCMP. Martin, of course, is also retired police. I think it's Halifax, but I'm not sure. What happened to the guy who produced and installed the decals? He's probably living on a beach in Tunisia. You will not hear about him. whose account are we scrolling through? We're scrolling through Tom Martin, Martin and Associates. The people who are asking for all your information, the one that was sued for turning over information instead of to the defense who hired them. They turned it over to the police. Sanderson. Christine Sanderson. One has to wonder. $990 some odd friends he has. Greg Vardy. Who is Greg Vardy? Oh, hey, there you go. How you doing? We can check. I'll do a new one. Just specifically for him. There you go. Greg Vardy's on the friends list. Warrants. Oh. Ooh. So Greg Vardy was in charge, was doing warrants? Interesting. There, David Vardy. Oh, there's Tim. Morrish. B.A. Baracus? Who the hell is that? I just have to. I'm sorry. Brent Nichols. Oh. Who's Brent Nichols? Anybody important? Recognize Brent Nichols? Ah, Vardy did the interview. Okay. So he's friends with the person who did the interview. There's no conflict of interest there. There's no conflict of interest that the investigative firm that is hired by the plaintiffs suing the RCMP is friends with the person who did the interview of Banfield. None at all. Oh my. This stew, it just keeps getting better and better. Oh, sorry. Maritime Police School. He's got a lot of friends. Please shout out if you know a name in here. You recognize it. Thank you very much for that. McNutt. Who's McNutt? McNutt, I recognize McNutt from somewhere. McNutt 911 call, but it's a different McNutt. Oh, shit. My apologies. Jesus. Okay, my apologies. I'll go back up here to B.A. Baracus. Was that where we were? There we go. B.A. Baracus. My apologies. Thank you. Durr. Time to wash another phone, I think. As Nova Scotia guy and Leon could attest to. Why don't you hit the record button, dude? Swimming her. Thanks, little Miss O. Yes. Poor Seamus. I think you can just write that on my grave. Probably won't be long. You can just put, here lies poor Seamus. Durr. Some music to do this too. Is this guy the mysterious Nicholas Dorrington? Did this PI stumble into something bigger? I don't know if there's a relationship between. Yes, there is. I think the number. I don't want to. There was a phone call that was placed to Nicholas Dorrington, and the old person was asked if they wish to speak to Nicholas or Frank. So I think there may be a relationship, and of course Frank Dorrington was the head of witness protection program for all of the Maritimes for the RCMP until he got thrown out for having relations with one of the people under his protection. Sounds real respectable. Zinnick. Ronald McDonald. Wow. Okay. One has to wonder, though, why he's friends with Sean Banfield. That is an odd friendship, I'll tell you. Never was able to find the relationship yet. Steve Strayuk. I know that name. I know this name. Why? Why do I know this name? Anybody want to remind anybody of something? Steve Strayuk? I swear I've heard that name before. Ah, Steve Strayuk. Okay, so he did the statements on behalf of the Weber. Was he the Weber family? He was. Pretty sure he spoke about that. Steve Strayuk. Who lives houses away from Weber. Coincidence? I don't know. I don't think I looked through that before. I don't think this Wortman is related. However, it's not a common name from what I'm told, right? Content and media relations at Nova Scotia Health. Interesting. Epstein. Oh no. Oh no. I think somebody in the chat may like that one. Steve Steele. Is he somebody in the story? Steele? Johnny LeBlanc. Nobody recognizes Steve Steele? Okay. Excuse me. McCullough. Sandra is the other lawyer. McCullough. Brad Sarson. That's not her kids, though. Could be related, but sorry. This is a comment from Facebook. ultimately all about the Mountie raid, that Paul feels unnerved Gabriel Wortman and helped push him into his ultimate. Who is Randy Deloney? Who is that, Blue Nose? Mark Furry is in here? Sorry, did I miss that? Oh. Oh. Ooh. Oh my. Okay. Okay, and I don't know who Randy Delaray is. Who is Randy Delaray? He looks like a politician. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Is his friends list actually his clients list? Was he using his Facebook chats to get around lawyer-client confidentiality? I'm not trying to bash on anybody. I'm just trying to find if there's connections. That's it. Because there seems to be a lot of connections. That's it. Nobody's trying to be disparaging upon anybody. Nor am I trying to dox him, which apparently it looks like I am. But I'm not. I have no intention. It's just I'm trying to figure out where they're coming from. Are they 100% genuine? And I think that's a fair question. Because I'm seeing connections in other places that aren't genuine. So I agree with you, Dave. I'm not trying to be disparaging in any way. Darren Fisher. Aaron Weber. And I have to factor in all kinds of stuff like small town mentality. Lots of people know everybody, and yep, that's all fair. Maybe if you want to make a note of that, Nova Scotia guy, if you're still around, that he's friends with the guy who did the interview with Lisa. It might be worthy of seeing if he's friends with anybody else that's also Patricia Walsh McNeil. I don't know. Is that anything? Again, I'm not saying anything. Whalen. Peter John Whalen. Oh, Wayland's page, of course, got nixed. I wonder if it will be back up anytime. Dalhousie, Dean, Jonathan Dean. Hmm. Yeah, Dalhousie has problems. Lots of problems. Hines, fuck. I don't know Eric Banfield. Bork Security. What's this one? Not recognizing any face there. Oh, hitters. It is interesting that he's friends with Fury. It is interesting that he's friends with Sean Banfield and also with Mark, the fellow who did the warrants for Lisa Banfield. That's, I don't know. Is it coincidence? What's your guys' feel on that? Was that Fury understandable given his profession and Sheldon McLeod? Pink. Huh. Eric Shepard is wearing a biker's vest. He is patched. Okay, sorry. So who am I? I'll look for a few of these here. Shepard. Blair Rhodes. R-H-O-D. Blair Rhodes. Okay, so CBC Justice reporter. Beaver Bank. Yep. They're Beaver Bank's where she's from. So A lot of McNeils. But it's probably a pretty common name, eh? He comes from a pretty big family. Oh, something weird happened there. Sean Michael. Webb. Any relation to the other Webb? I think maybe. Ross. HRP. Who was the lawsuit? I thought I searched the Webbs. Okay. Walker. Jeff Good. Is that something? I don't know why. Maybe I'm just seeing so many names now. Why not? You guys are probably listening to music. Like I should be. Not the most entertaining thing. I do apologize. Research tends to be that way, though. Do you find it interesting that Blair Rhodes? Okay. All right. Well, there's a few interesting little tidbits there. I don't know if there's anything pops out at anybody particularly. I won't keep you guys any longer. I appreciate you guys hanging in there. So welcome back to Paul. Very happy, very happy. Have to eat my shirt again for the second time in 2 days. But when you're wrong, right? So I'm happy to be wrong and move forward. So thanks very much, everybody, for hanging around. I do hope that you have a great rest of your evening because it's supper time down there now. And yeah, God bless everybody.